Hi, I'm Rob Kinley. I'm a research scientist, and my specialty is ruminant animals, cattle and sheep, and the main focus is on methane reduction from the livestock industry. Globally, there's a major issue around enteric methane emissions. That's methane that's emitted from cattle and sheep during their digestive process. And it's a major contributor to global greenhouse gas accumulation, which in effect pushes climate change. From that problem, we went looking for a solution. In this case, we came upon a seaweed that dramatically reduces the methane emissions during the digestive process in the cattle. That amazing discovery happened right here in the labs in Townsville. It was in a series of testing a whole set of seaweeds that we were screening from Australia. When I first saw that there was no emissions from those digestive processes, it was shocking. It was so shocking I didn't believe it. It took 3 times of repeating it before I really came to that conclusion. Now, let me explain to you how we came to this very interesting line of work with seaweeds. It stems back from a very forward-thinking farmer in East Coast Canada. He had noticed over a period of time while giving the seaweed to his animals that those that were getting the seaweed that rolled up on the beach near his paddocks actually had better reproductive success, rip-roaring heats he called them, better milk production. They were more friendly cows, but they also had less time on mastitis, which was indicating a nice little immune response from the seaweed. So he came and asked us, would we do some research to show that it was safe for animals? So of course we agreed to do that, and because I could, I tested to see if there was any effect on methane emissions when you're feeding seaweed to cattle. And sure enough, there was a relatively significant, about 20% reduction in methane emissions. Now, that's really big number for those days. And hey, that was my light bulb moment. I linked up with CSIRO and James Cook University and Meat and Livestock Australia, and we started screening seaweeds. There was a pretty good impact from all of them, anywhere from 10 to 40% methane inhibition, but that was at 20% of seaweed. So that's a very high dose level and is not economically feasible, and it's also not likely that animals are going to want to consistently eat that much seaweed. So we rolled back the inclusion level to very low levels, and most of those seaweeds didn't have as good of impact on methane inhibition, except Asparagopsis was the standout. At levels of less than 2%, it was still taking methane emissions out completely. Asparagopsis comes in 2 varieties. They have similar natural chemistry but thrive in different climates. One loves the cooler waters and the other more active in warmer waters, which means it's well suited for cultivation in most regions of the world. We tested both of those species in livestock, in sheep and cattle. In an unbelievable circumstance, it was better in animals than in the laboratory. That's virtually unheard of. For the first time, a totally natural product is available to the livestock industry that can greatly reduce animal emissions with strong early indicators of some great productivity enhancements in the form of feed conversion improvements and live weight gain improvements. And this is providing a win-win for the entire industry. And we have a circumstance now where we can feel good about our red meat and dairy products that have very little impact on climate change. We've proven the safety and efficacy for the beef feedlot market, and now it's about supporting the wide-scale adoption to allow for maximum impact. FutureFeed has identified the fastest way to have the biggest impact is to have seaweed being grown in key markets all around the world. We license seaweed growers to sell Asparagopsis for use as a feed ingredient. FutureFeed believes in building circular economies characterized by locally harvested seaweed, fed to locally produced cattle for locally recognized carbon credits. Trust and transparency are so important when it comes to something new, and we're building the certified trademark that will travel along the value chain from the seaweed cultivation to red meat and dairy products that people are buying. That gives confidence in the claims around lower methane and the science that supports it. The standards that underpin the certified trademark are how we ensure consistency of product and the impact across the value chain. We recently cooked the first low methane steaks along with Chef Matt Moran, and it was an incredible and satisfying moment in this journey. The days and weeks can be busy, but we savored the moment as we all shared the first bite. I reflected on the journey and on that dairy farmer in Canada and on all the belief and support at every bump along the way. It was extraordinary what I was seeing in the reality come to a vision and a sense of what this steak means for our industry and for our future. That's perhaps the most rewarding part of commercializing a new technology, the progression from an idea, a test of concept, to proof of concept, through rigorous science and then to something you can smell and taste. And the feeling is life-changing. I look forward to you being part of this journey and to see many more steaks on plates in Australia and around the world that are certified by FutureFeed.